So, Mississippi Queen.
Yes, indeed. It's an old one. 25 years at this point.
Yes, 1997 it won the Spiel des Jahres.
And well deserving of it as far as I'm concerned. This is kind of a larger-than-life game.
Yeah, this one's fun. As you play, you're building this, I'm going to call it a map of the Mississippi River, for lack of a better term. But
right.
It's really interesting how it evolves and how the river can change direction on you and completely hose you.
Right, as if none of these steamboat drivers have ever been on the river before.
No, I mean, are there no maps? I mean,
They got to the starting line somehow. You think they would have at least gone on the river once.
I get that, over the span of centuries, the Mississippi River reroutes itself.
Every now and again.
Maybe this is flood times. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I can't imagine these steamboats taking centuries to get from one stop to the next.
I agree.
No, it's just a concession to gameplay.
Yeah, of course.
Are we recording this?
We are recording.
We are recording.
Are we playing Black Rose?
We are not playing Black Rose.
So. Okay. So no sandbars, no floating logs, no coal stations.
I mean, we could add
Black
Rose
serious?
if you
coal
want
stations? The whole point of the game is that you can't run out of coal. Why would you put a coal station in?
Well, doesn't the Black Rose adds
five new tiles, I think.
Yeah, so you got five tiles.
Would you like to play with the Black Rose? We have the box.
No.
We have it.
No.
I have never played with the Black Rose.
This is a lovely game.
It allows
without the
6
Black
players
Rose.
instead of 5. This plays
This
5.
This is one of those games where every time we sit down, somebody says, "Oh, should we play with the Black Rose?"
And then we never do.
And we never do, because every time the consensus
I have played with the Black Rose before.
that the Black Rose is not a good expansion.
I don't know that I would consent to that. I like the fact that there are the extra little terrains, like the sandbars and the floating logs and the coal supply. Yes. Do you need extra coal for 5 extra tiles? Yeah. Maybe.
It adds another dimension with the logs and the sandbar, because now you can kind of push people before you kind of snooker. It's hard to snooker somebody in this game until the end of the game. This one, you can snooker somebody, you push them onto a sandbar, and it takes extra time.
And yet, the fact remains, I have played this game a number of times and have never played with this expansion.
I will say, the Black Rose is the very definition of an expansion lengthening a game to a point that it almost makes it unfun. So if I were to play with the Black Rose, I would shuffle in the 5 tiles, and then I would take 5 tiles at random off, so that we're still playing with 12.
Right, and that has always been my issue with expansions. They get made for games that don't need expansions. And games that do need expansions don't get expansions because nobody bought them.
But you had... It would be ridiculous if you had 6 players on the island, on the river.
That's actually a really good point there, John.
Well, thank you.
Games that are good out of the box get purchased.
Therefore, they demand an expansion.
There's demand for an expansion.
Yeah. But what do you do with the 6th person?
Well, in that case, you play a longer game because you're adding a 6th person, and you're going into it, it's going to take up 2 hours longer than normal.
I got you.
And some games, you just accept the fact that they're not meant to be played at all player counts.
Yes. There are a lot of games like that.
Many.
Like El Grande at 3 or 4. You should only play it at 5.
Or at any player count.
Chris, I noticed that you don't have the penalty box set up. Can you go set that up for me so Sam can have a seat?
We'll just send him for beer.
Who wants to give the basic running gear for Mississippi Queen?
Well, this isn't my copy, so I can't do it.
Is this not your copy? Oh, no, this is our copy.
Yeah, but you probably have the best narrator voice.
Okay.
Do you want the rules, Sam? Do you want to read the rules for everybody? I could read the opening bit. It kind of made John chuckle when I did earlier.
If you read verbatim from that rule book,
I'm going to read. I'll read the overview.
I would like to lodge an official protest.
Can I read the overview?
No, you cannot read verbatim from the book. If I wanted to read the book, I'd go read the color,
the flavor.
And now a dramatic reading of the overview featuring Chris. Take it away, Chris.
Vie with other paddle wheel captains and their queens for the title of Mississippi Queen, the fastest paddle wheeler on Big Muddy. Since a significant portion of a paddle wheeler's revenue comes from passengers, the competition is more than just a race. To win, a captain must be the first to dock at the finish and make 2 passenger stops along the way.
Apparently 2 passengers is enough to pay for the...
Yeah, I'm going to cut that
What?
because that was awful.
No
Right?
applause?
You needed a little more Big Muddy in it, and it didn't quite land.
I'm
But
sorry.
But yeah, so Mississippi Queen, what you have is a steamboat that has 2. I'm just going to call them dials because that's
what they are.
That's
That's
what
fair.
they are. They're numbered 1 through 6. 1 indicates how much coal you have, which helps you speed up and slow down, and the other one was
Is your speed.
Oh, is your
How
speed?
fast
Duh.
you're going.
So at the beginning of the game, you set your speed to 1 or 2, and you essentially move down the river. So you can it's hex-based movement, so you can either move forward or you can make 1 60-degree turn left or right and continue to move forward. You can only make 1 turn.
But you make that turn at any point on your turn, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anytime during your movement, you can make 1 turn.
Okay.
So you can move all your spaces and then rotate.
Yes.
Right. Or
So,
you can
yeah.
rotate to start before you even move.
Yes.
Okay.
So somewhere in your movement, you can rotate, be at the end, somewhere in the middle, or at the beginning. All right. So in the initial setup, there are 2 tiles laid out. These are little hex maps with mostly water, but then there's also some islands that you have to navigate around. Some of these islands also have depots where you can pick up your pretty ladies that are your passengers, and you have to pretty much stop. You pretty much have to stop with 1 speed to be able to pick up a passenger. They're not going to run and jump off the dock and try to land on your boat
Yeah,
as you,
the ladies
as you go by.
will not do that.
Unless
So-
you push them.
All right. So anyway, so you're making your way down the river. You're picking up 2 passengers, and you're trying to make it to the end of the river, where you again have to stop with 1 speed. Otherwise, you crash into the sandbar and effectively are out of the game right at the end. There are you have the ability to kind of push people around, kind of knock them off of their navigation.
Bumper boat style.
It's very bumper boaty, and if you push somebody into a sandbar, they basically set their speed to 0.
There's no sandbar. That is in the Black Rose.
Sorry, the islands, the depot, So yeah, you can. I've already forgot where I was.
You're
can
talking about
push
This
bumping.
is why I don't do this, because I forget where I'm at.
You can push people
So-
into obstacles. And
So you can
they
push
stop.
people into obstacles to slow them down, to kind of get them off of their route. And that's where the player interaction is, which in this game, for a racing game, player interaction's pretty high.
Yeah,
A lot of
agree.
opportunities to be messing with each other.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of little islands and stuff that are on the tile, so it's not like you just have a clear path. I mean, you kind of have to weasel your way through.
Oh yeah,
some of
for
this.
sure. There's very few straight shots.
So bumping somebody 1 spot can really put them in a bad place. That suddenly they have to start over again and find their way around.
Yeah.
and that's
So
all
when
part
is
of
it that somebody picks up? Is it like after everybody's done? Because I mean, if I pull up
Now,
and I'm at
if
a
you-
1,
at the end of your turn, if you're moving speed 1 and you're at the end of that pier, the lady jumps on board.
gotcha.
Yes, because otherwise you could shove somebody out of the way. But if they're pulling up and they're just already there, there's speed 2 and they're just before and they're planning to move down to speed 1 and grab them, that's when you give them a little push, because then at that point they can't do anything, and you can dump your own speed by doing that, which may allow you to come in at speed 1.
And it's interesting because you point out this is a racing game. It really is, right? You're trying to get to the end of.
Well, technically,
The river.
every game is a racing game.
No,
but we'll
technically
digress.
every game is not a racing game.
Oh, my
Let's not
goodness.
bring that up right
All
now.
right. This is very much a racing game,
Yes.
but it's one that I enjoy, and I don't normally find a lot of joy in racing games.
Sam don't like racing
I don't
games.
like racing games. But this one I really like because it has a lot of different elements
It's a
that,
hoot.
that are fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get in each other. You can actually get into each other's way
Yes,
and
absolutely. You
completely
can actually,
foil somebody's
You
plans.
can actually mess with other people. There's resource management because you spend coal to speed up or slow down. And there's a push your luck element as well, where you have to decide. Well, you have to pick up two of the ladies before you get to the end, or you're disqualified. When do you
Yeah.
do that? You don't know what the map looks like ahead of you,
Yeah.
so you don't know.
Do you pick
if,
them up early, or do you push your luck later
right?
down?
Yeah. Do you get ahead of the pack, or do you slow down to pick them up?
Yeah. Because one of the things that I was starting to mention, but with my Mississippi public education and just
Short attention span.
The way my brain works, sometimes I forgot to mention. As you're going along, there are two. The game starts with 2 tiles. As you move on to the second tile, there's a die that has a arrow to the left, an arrow to the right, and then an arrow straight. So you're going to pull another river tile, and you're going to place it. You're going to add it to the river based on how the die rolls. So if you enter the river on the right hand side and you roll the die and it says turn that river left, well, suddenly you're in last place on that tile because you're the farthest away from where the next river section is. So even with the way the river comes out, there's a little bit of a push your luck and a little bit of a chance element too. That's really really funny when it screws people.
Oh yeah, and heaven help you if the next tile comes out and you're now going like speed 6
in
into the
wrong
riverbank.
direction.
Because
sometimes there's some weird
sometimes
endings.
you can't make that turn.
Is there player elimination in this? I can't remember. Can you be out?
If you have no coal, you're stuck at going up 1 or down 1.
Yeah, so you can always move your speed up or down 1.
Mm-hmm.
Coal lets you change it by more than 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of apply the brakes. Or
I couldn't remember if this has like the Formula Day thing where you can like
No, I
go
don't
careening into
blow
the crowd.
yourself up.
I don't. Is there a way to go like double speed? I think you only can go up by 1 each time, right? It's the coal
Unless
is
you-
used for braking.
No, you use the coal to go
I'm
faster too.
pretty
So
sure-
you can go up 2. You can even go up 3 if you want, but you're going to burn all your coal doing it. You only have 6 coal to work with, and you've got 12 tiles to get across. So you need to hold on to it.
And you probably want to use it for braking.
Right, especially at the end, because somebody can shove you towards the finish line, and you're coming in too fast, and then you crash.
We're talking about the start and how the race is stuff. The best part of the race is the finish.
Yeah.
It's always something crazy happens at the end.
And for what it's worth, I do really enjoy how the designer took like paddle boats, right, where you have the coal engine turning the big paddle wheels to move the boats, and took the actual real life mechanics of that and how you can go forward and backward, and you have to burn coal to
spin the wheel
one or the other, and turned it into the game. And not only that, the components, you actually have the little paddle boats, and the dials represent the big paddle wheels, and you turn them to it's a lot of fun.
It's actually very nicely done. Isn't it?
I think it's very clever.
I'm trying to figure out how a guy named Werner Hodel came up with a river boat race on the Mississippi.
And he's German, like
I
a
think
German
so.
named Werner Hodel.
Yeah.
Who'd never been to the U.S.
Yes.
Has never seen the Mississippi River like I have.
Right. And there's this wonderful quote on the front of the box. It says,
I just saw
"Man
that.
thinks the river flows." And I looked it up. That's not like a famous line from somebody. If
was just something he
If you
came
look
up
that
with.
up on Google, you get the Mississippi Queen box. So somebody came up with that, which is kind of crazy.
Werner came up with it.
Maybe he did.
Gotcha. So you think part of the reason why you like this racing game is because of the exploration of it?
Oh, absolutely. I
Or
love
is it the wild and zany aspect?
Oh, it's both of those
Is
things.
it the crazy finishes?
It's really just the thematic. I love how thematic it is.
I think we've seen it before, but I don't think you really see too many times where there's a runaway winner. Like Steven, when we were playing Heat that one time, just was like a runaway winner. There was no chance of catching him. This game, it keeps it close. There's competition all the way through to the end.
And what's funny is it will look like somebody's pulling away, and invariably something hauls them back.
Oh, sorry, the river doesn't flow that way.
Turned out that
Right.
way
Or
after
they're,
all.
or they're 4 tiles ahead, but they have not picked up any.
Right,
Yeah,
they're way
exactly.
ahead, and
Yeah.
now they got to pick somebody up, and they're
So you're
sitting
not-
there going, "I hope this next tile has 2 ladies on it, otherwise I'm out."
Yeah. I mean, you're not ahead until you have both your passengers. That's
Yeah,
just like
that is true.
That's just the way this game works. So, having said that's the way this game works, how about we just give it a play and we'll report back when we're done.
I think that's a
After
fine
the
idea.
crazy finish.
See how the river flows.
Big wheel keep on turning, proud Mary.
And they've done a good job so far. So, not only did we play Mississippi Queen, but we managed to get all 12 tiles on the table without it crossing over. So we have a very pretty map when all is said and done.
Yeah, it not like our last map, which was like kind of straight.
It was, yeah.
It
Last
had,
time
like-
we played, it was
Rather
a very
boring.
boring Mississippi River. This one
Yeah.
has a nice little jug handle in it.
It started in New Orleans and it ended in New Orleans.
this was a good round. I enjoyed it. Obviously, I enjoyed it because I won.
Smooth sailing for
but-
Steven over there. Some of us had to play. Some of us need to buy new boats. Okay?
I mean, look.
Well, you still came in second. Don't complain.
Here's the thing: you had all the same opportunities I did. You just did not capitalize on them.
That's fair. I also had to fight Chris tooth and nail to enter
Yeah.
the
To that
winner's
finish,
circle
yeah.
at all.
I mean, that's the thing about this game. It presents as this really nice family-looking racing game where you just go down the river and have a pleasant stroll, picking up passengers and looking at all the cool islands, and
The
maybe
ladies
passing
in their hoop dresses.
maybe passing a shark or two, whatever.
Yeah.
And what it ends up being is
a blood fest.
you've got essentially you've got these paddle wheelers that have like jousting
And they're
sticks.
slamming into
Yeah.
each other
They're
at
just
full
going
speed.
at each other
It's
and-
kind of like sumo wrestling with boats.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Everybody
Yeah.
bellying into each other, and I got at one point. I think in one turn I got hit by 3 boats. So
you
that's-
got roughed
I mean,
up.
it got real crowded.
and
like,
there was
in
that one
third to last
corner
title.
where
I was in a great spot. I was in second place. I was picking up my second lady, and then it just didn't work out because everybody kept banging into me. So this is one of those games where you don't count your chickens until they're hatched.
unless
because
you're Steven.
You think you got it all worked out. Well,
I mean, look,
he
I
came
traded
from behind
I
and came in
traded
at speed
paint
6.
with all of y'all.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was the first one with 2 ladies.
Yeah, you got a very fortuitous
So
draw.
you
remember
picked up-
what I said in the beginning. You're not ahead until you have your 2
You,
ladies.
you got the
right.
you got the 2 ladies, and then you had nice smooth. There was a lot of long straights where you could just turn that
on
time
tile
into speed. Like
Yeah,
on tile 4, Steven had both his ladies.
and actually, if you look at it from tile 4 and then tile 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there was just nice straight lines.
and
Yeah,
he
for
got up to
those-
speed and was able to go.
For those like 6 tiles, I was going 6 speed.
If we
Yeah,
had
and snookering people.
Granted,
as-
I was slamming into people at speed 6 and just knocking them out of the way, and just
Yeah, and I
overall
mean, if-
ruining
if-
people's
Causing
days.
havoc.
if we'd had some islands in different places that had broken up those straight shots, maybe it would have been a worse call to pick up ladies early. But
Yeah, that
I
third
mean-
to last tile was really nasty.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one because it's like 4 different islands or 6 different islands. It's 6 different islands. It just there's no straight shot. Well, there's one straight shot.
Yeah,
across
one straight pass. If you're but
across the tile.
the far edge of it,
And
that's not
there
where you
are
wanna
and
be.
there are no ladies on it. So unless you come onto that tile in just the right place, you're crawling. Actually, it's that cuts across. So
Yeah, there's no straight shot.
there's no straight shot on
and
that
you
one.
know, if we played this game more than say once every 5 years, we would know that tile
Is
is
somewhere.
in the mix somewhere. And
Oh, yeah.
until it comes out, until that's been placed and you've gotten through it, you've got that coming along. But the snooker was on the tile before that. There was a spot that had 2 ladies, and just I could not tee it up. I was all set; everything was going to work out. And I think Sam, you grabbed one of the ladies.
I did.
from
I
there.
got in right before
And-
you did.
And then Steven came in, and I was in a position to grab next, but Steven came in and just slammed into me, and then from there, everything was havoc on that tile. And Chris, you needed to pick up a lady as well, and that would have been an ideal one for you to come in with,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't happening.
when you
because
have a
Steven
steamroller coming through.
he
or,
had his 2, and
I
he
just
was at
put my-
speed 6.
I guess
just
like
put
a-
my elbows out and just
Yep,
ran
head
through the
down
pass.
and-
Steven came in like a wrecking ball.
Yep.
I'm not singing it.
So we did look up a couple of rules just to make sure, but I mean, the rule book's maybe a few pages. The print is really big. This is not a particularly complicated game by any stretch of the imagination. There's a introductory game which is painfully simple, and then there's the full size game which just adds a little bit of extra complexity.
Yeah.
But other than that, this is about as simple a game as you're going to get. And in spite of there being really almost no randomness. I mean, the randomness of the tile draw, which most people don't really consider randomness, and then whether it places left, middle, or right. But chaos ensues in this game, doesn't it?
This game was different where Stephen was able to pick up both of his ladies within.
Man, you're really harping on that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
was
saying
going to say,
within-
Somebody's bitter.
No,
Yeah.
you did very well with picking up those two ladies right there, and then you were able to haul ass.
It's kind of
and
a
cause
junior win,
havoc.
Stephen, is what it boils
No,
down
it
to.
was
he's,
not.
he's saying that it's almost sort of like cheating, but not
Strategically,
exactly cheating.
it's like
Stephen's
I said at the
strategy was
very.
sound, and it came.
It's like I
it-
said at the very beginning. You're not ahead until you have your two ladies.
Yes, and I wish that I had
And-
picked up my ladies
And
earlier.
if that's not a metaphor, I don't know
because you've
what
got to
is.
stay. You have got to stay close to the lead. You can't get too far behind.
I mean, you can.
I was going to say, it worked out fine for Steven.
Yeah,
He really wasn't.
Wow,
No, he was good and behind. After he
was-
picked up his second lady, he was 2 tiles back. Because I
at
motored on. I
least.
said, I can't get her because there's another lady back there that I decided not to go after.
Yeah,
And then
I
there-
think
and
we
a
were
couple
like
tiles-
around its corner.
Yeah, and then so he was a good distance back, but he could get up to speed 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And still cruise
again,
and
that's
close
just,
that gap.
That's just because of how this map happened to turn out.
Right.
Right? There was a nice straight
Did
shot with
anybody
one
else-
turn that you could motor through.
Did anybody else get up to speed 6?
No, I got to speed 5 at one
I
point.
could have, but I didn't.
I mean, that's the thing. I had both of my ladies. I didn't have to. See, y'all also benefited from all the straights that I benefited from. So don't even pretend like the only
No,
reason
this
why I
benefited
won.
you and not us.
Well, no, they benefited us
Clearly,
too.
this is not a real win, Stephen. I don't
But
see how you can claim
I
victory on
think-
Is
this
it
one.
because I won that it's not a real win?
Stephen,
That's
you won. You
part
had
of it.
sound strategy and you won. I wasn't trying to take
I
anything
think-
away from it, as John is.
I think it's fair to say that you benefited from it more.
I mean,
So what you're saying is by losing, he was winning.
Well, he wasn't losing. He was in the back of the pack.
his
But I had
path
two
was
ladies,
laid
so I
out
was winning.
before him.
Anyway.
So he
Anyway.
could see that he could get up to speed 6. We were sitting there going, "Hey, what's this next tile going to
See,
be?" We're all kind of bunched.
here's
up.
the
Right.
other part of this. Chris and Sam, but mostly Chris, will jump out ahead because they like to be the ones to roll the die and put the new tiles out. And that's not the best position to be in.
It's true.
It's
but
like
I think
Power
I rolled
Grid.
the tile.
It's
I
a
rolled the
game
die
where-
one time. I made purpose that I stayed back.
I didn't. I like rolling the
Yeah,
die.
Sam was the one this game that was jumping out
It
into the
almost
lead.
worked out.
I think it was between Sam and Steve, except for me with one tile.
I like
Yeah,
the.
I'm not sure
like
if I rolled the die or not.
You did a couple times.
You did a couple
I did?
times.
You did a
Okay.
couple times.
I just know in past games, Chris is always like, I'm going to be the one out ahead and plowing along. And every time he did, like the ladies are always in a bad position. So
I like the push your luck element of it.
Yeah,
You're saying,
I mean, it's-
you're betting that the ladies are going to be in a good spot, and so I'm going to be able to. It's
high risk, high reward.
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward. You're betting you're going to be able to flip the tile and get in there and pick up the lady, and then keep going, and you can keep your speed, and you're fine. Whereas if you're at the back of the pack or in the middle, then you can see what's on the tile ahead of you, and you can say, okay, that's in a bad spot for the lead.
I can make it there and
I
pick
can
somebody
maneuver
up.
over there, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Or
essentially,
The three of us were kind of dicking each other.
Or you
over.
look at it and you go, oh, there's a straight shot. I don't need to make
Well,
a pickup.
once he had his two ladies, he had room to just. All he needed to do was be a little bit out ahead of us, and as long as he stayed a little bit out ahead of us, it was no big deal because we still had to make those pit stops. And to be fair, I mean, looking at the board right here, second tile from the end, there's a lady sitting there, and it's not a bad spot. I mean, any one of us could have grabbed that lady.
Except right at that tile is where we all started bumping around.
Well, right, because suddenly it's desperation, and you have to grab one
Let
of
me
the
tell
two
you,
ladies
if
that are
my
left.
boat had like health points or something, I'd be at the bottom of the river.
so like this
Well, the good news
configuration.
is I'm not at the bottom of the river. Instead, I
You made it
actually
onto the river.
beached myself.
Pretty sure you
instead.
killed your queens.
So yes, this particular setup of tiles where it's that the one with all the small islands and the no clear path,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so
And neither of them have a straight shot.
But then paired up with the one with the
that's a
lady
straight
right
shot.
there, you would
That's not a
if
straight
you
shot
had
today.
more space before the end and not everyone had bunched up there at the same time, that would have been actually really good because to get through all that, you would be at low speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
to
just,
go ahead and grab
just
her.
turn that corner and grab her, and I didn't need
And
her.
it's and it's not like the first one that I picked up where she was just kind of off on her own, and we were already like steaming ahead like at 4-speed and having to like brake to get to her.
She was kind of a tough pickup, to be honest with you. And when you were going after her, I'm like, okay, so that's fine. If you're going after her, I'm not gonna, because that's going to be a tough pickup.
Yeah, they would have had to spend coal to do that.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't.
I
It
knew
was early enough in the game. I didn't want to waste my coal.
And I already had one lady, and I'm like, okay, it's a long race, and I already got one, so I'll just pick up one.
Which you just kind of happened into it all of a sudden. It was
that
like,
was
oh
an
my
easy pickup. Yeah, my first one just fell in my lap. Yeah, so it's remarkable how loud this game can get sometimes, and
it feels like it's calm and relaxing, and you're just doing a riverboat
floating
cruise
down the river.
But,
yeah, and
that's just not the case.
So thematically, it matches very well, and I think part of the reason this thing got the game of the year that year is because, again, it's traditional German game, simple rules that produce more interesting, engaging play, somewhat limited on luck, but there's a lot of player interaction here, and it's the kind of game that you can play with kids. It's the kind of game you can play with your buddies with beer on the table. You can play whatever you want. I mean, and you're going to get a different game depending on the crowd that you're with. If you're playing this at like a gaming cafe with people you don't know, maybe
it's probably a bit nicer.
Maybe you don't hit them at speed 6. Yeah. but
I mean, you go ahead and pick up that lady. I'll get the next one.
Yes, I'll get the next exactly. But when you're playing with your buds, the people you've been playing with for 10 or 15 years, and at that point, speed 6 is just fine, and that's part of it.
I mean, why would you hit anyone at less?
Right, as long as you got your two.
I mean,
ladies.
especially when it takes kills half your speed.
So from that perspective, it's kind of an interesting. There's a bit of a chameleon aspect to the game, is that it is going to mold itself to the crowd that you just happen to be with.
But yeah, so that was kind of the basis for the Spiel des Jahres back in those days. It wasn't until recently that they came up with the Gamers Game.
Yeah,
these are all about. The award winners were all about being family games.
Yeah, Saturday night gaming with the family. Yeah.
And so, the fact that this plays, 5 out of the box?
Yeah.
And you have 2 different levels of play. So you can do the basic game, which is, straight start to finish. You don't have to stop for anybody, just straight navigating through the river. And, you break that out with your, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, and you get them comfortable with that. And then, maybe a year or two later when they're grasping higher concepts and can do the math that it takes
like Division
to slow down.
You know what this game was really missing?
If you say clay poker chips.
No, it was missing Cody. I remember playing this with Cody. Cody adds a certain level of chaos
to everything,
above
honestly.
and beyond. But
yeah, then you scale it up to the advanced game, and you get more life out of it. So as a family game, having those 2 modalities of playing, it's actually.
And I could see you making this game. I mean, you could change the rules a little bit to make this game more interesting. You have to pick up 3 ladies instead, something like that. You can move things around a little bit and make the game.
I think one of the things that would make this great is there's 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
There's 8 ladies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Each lady has to be picked up.
Yeah, right. So that make it a whole lot tighter.
This lady didn't get picked up. Somebody ain't finishing
Somebody's
the race.
Well,
Somebody's doing it.
There are exactly 4 ladies left over. So the minute you leave one behind, with 4 of us playing, if you had to each get 3, the minute you pass one behind, it's like, okay, somebody's
already
not
lost.
finishing. Yep.
And then you start adding expansions like the Black Rose. And, it's kind of modular in that you can just add the tiles.
I did enjoy the Black Rose.
I mean, the Black Rose itself, what is it? It's like controlled by the player that's in last place or something? Right, and somebody gets to control it, and so it's a whoever's in last place essentially gets a marauder ship that they get to slam into somebody. And I'm just completely speaking off the top of my head here. I have not read the rules.
It is controlled by the player in last place. It uses the same movement rules. The controlling player may use the Black Rose to exchange coal with his normal steamboat by up to 2 points per turn.
Wow! You can take coal from the Black Rose.
So
you may stop at a passenger or coal station, but may not remain there. So you can block a spot for a turn, but never picks up passengers or coal, and never goes out of play.
So there's a part of me that thinks that that's why we don't play with the Black Rose.
That feels out of place.
Yeah, so that part I
Yeah.
would leave, but the new tiles, I definitely
Tiles are fine.
I
Yeah.
definitely think the new tiles are fun. And then there's a
We should try it.
variant
at
for
least.
2
Let's
players
not.
and a
And,
variant
and,
for
and,
six.
Shoot it
and
down.
if you extend the river, it means that the coal that you do have suddenly becomes more precious because you got a longer space to burn it.
I gotta wonder how much of that
And it puts you in third place. Thank you very much.
was you need that much coal to go 12 tiles, or we all knew it was the end of the race, and so we were being more liberal with our coal.
Well, when you get to the end of the race, suddenly if you got a whole lot of coal left over, it's like, all right, time to burn it up because there's no use taking it with you. So if the race is longer, that means you have a longer period of time where you're actively managing that.
Yeah, I mean, I could have been more conservative coming around the river and still won. Like I won like 3 turns
Handily.
three
yeah.
or 4 turns ahead of
Yeah,
everybody.
that's
Well, you
because these
set
two
up
are
a-
slamming into each other
Yeah.
instead of actually.
But I mean, I could have.
I couldn't even win. He hadn't even picked
now,
up the lady
now
yet.
he's lording it over us. First of all, it was only sort of a win, but now he's lording it over us. I won by 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah.
So to
Half the
what
cr-
Sam
half
was
the crowd
saying.
had left before Sam and I got to the shore.
No, I think the crowd was riveted watching the bowmanship on display.
Is that one hitting the other one?
He's going to pick up the other lady.
Never mind the
Why do
people.
they keep hitting each other?
Never mind. There was the crowd watching. The burning wreck of John's boat.
No, they were running for their lives. Is what they were doing.
John took out half the crowd. You look at where he is.
No,
It's
you
a
didn't have any
significant-
coal left. There was nothing to explode. It was fine.
It was just a
So you don't get
giant.
motored over
It
by
was
me.
just a giant plow going
Yeah,
across the crowd.
my boat
Well,
ran
how,
aground at
how
speed
fast
3.
do these things really go? Is this relative speed?
enough to
Like, I'm
crush
just
a
saying.
few people, I'm sure.
I'm not sure.
Not only did John not finish the race properly, but he's going to jail.
I'm
Straight to
going to
jail.
look it up.
All right. Well, while Samuel looks that up, how about we kind of wrap up our feelings on Mississippi Queen?
Yeah. I'd like to say one thing, that this game has been reprinted. So now it's a decent price.
This
Steven
used to
and
be
I-
hard to get.
Yeah, Steven and I picked a copy of this and the Black Rose up at an auction at Gen Con, and I think we got it for just under
dropping.
100 or right around $100.
Yeah, it was like $90 for both of them.
Yeah, and we felt that was a pretty good score. But now I think the Black Rose is still very expensive. But
Yeah, Black
just the
Rose
base
is still
game-
pretty hard to find. The base game, I saw it today actually in a game store in that secondhand shelf for $40.
And that's
The
what it's
original
selling
printing.
for.
The original print. This one that
Nice.
we
That's what,
just played.
that's what it's on about eBay
So,
about.
yeah, you can pick up secondhand first edition copies for about $40. You
Can't
can get the
believe-
new edition for probably $50. They're still at retail, I guess.
And the
Has
rules are
anything
about the same?
changed?
The
Is it
rules
the
the
same?
same. I honestly don't know. Like
I
all I know
can't-
is it's in a square box. And
I
it
can't
looks-
believe we played a game that's so easily available.
Yeah, I know. It's
Somehow
kinda
that's
weird.
wrong.
Somehow it's
I
wrong.
think when we put
We
it on
should
the
have
list,
played
it
with the
wasn't,
Black
but-
Rose so that
Yeah.
we could.
Also, top speed between 20 and 25 miles an hour.
That could kill you pretty easily.
It could. I feel like it's also going to be pretty easy to be like, oh, that boat is approaching. I should move.
You should, but with 500 people behind you, it's remarkable how people get trampled to death. So
I suppose.
and 25 miles per hour in a boat. As somebody who sailed on the bay, you're rocking and rolling at 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. All right. So normally we do this in who won first order, but let's start with the bottom.
That would be me.
John, how about you sum up your
Al-
feelings for Mississippi Queen for us?
Always a rocking good time. I mean, this is not the most brain burning game you're gonna play, but it's always a good time. This is an easy 7. This is a game you should pull out once a year, maybe twice a year. It's a game you play late at night, and it plays quick. So if you played something big and you finish up at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, then it's the kind of game you can get in before 11 and get a good play in. So yeah, this is a strong 7 as far as I'm concerned. It won Game of the Year for a reason.
Yeah. I'm looking at the back of the box here, and it's very oddly specific. It says 30 to 40 minutes for the play time.
That is
Well,
oddly
that's
specific.
that's the Germans. They like to be precise. So I'm
The,
sure they played.
The newer version plays 2 to 6, so it comes with the 6 person, and the playing time is 45 to 75 minutes.
Yeah, because you're adding that 6-person.
So does the new version include the Black Rose?
You know, that's interesting.
this is
Maybe
12
it does
tiles.
include the Black Rose because it says it comes with 1 finish tile, 7 paddle wheelers,
Yeah.
7 speed wheels, 6 coal wheels. So the Black Rose does not use. So it does
so
include.
it does include the Black Rose.
And maybe it plays with that. Yep, there is a black one on there.
From the from what you read earlier, it sounded like the Black Rose had a coal wheel because you could take coal from it.
You can.
Oh, it does have 1 Black Rose coal wheel. It's
There you go.
different from the coal wheel.
Okay.
So there you go. The new version is both of them, the base game and the expansion. So check that out.
$35 plus $13 shipping and handling on eBay. Hey, it was a good time. I got my 2 ladies. I came ashore, came in 3rd place. We battled it out. We bumped it out.
You never stood a chance.
Oh, maybe we should do this again. Can we just start over?
You know, we've got time.
Yeah.
Because the game plays in 30 to 40 minutes.
I think it was
Steven.
39 minutes is the time that it took
We
to play the
actually
game.
don't have extra time because I have something very special prepared for after the game tonight.
Oh, didn't know that.
I'm apprehensive.
So, with that being said, you know, like I said, like John said, it's a game that we should bring out a little bit more often. It's always a fun time to it, and it doesn't take very long.
Yeah,
So
this is a game we should be playing at the May Getaway when we go and play games.
this is a good. There
Good
was a
late night
lot
game.
of table talk, and I
yeah.
love games where there's
Yeah.
a
You
lot of
know-
table talk and a lot
You
of.
know what game this should have replaced?
No, don't say it. One of my favorite games.
Yeah.
No.
I agree. 100%.
Atmosphere.
Oh my gosh.
Winner's Circle.
Winner's
Oh,
Circle.
Winner's Circle sucks.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you
The
guys
only
are not
play-
invited to the main game. I would sit there and play that by myself.
The
throw
only-
our
What
own.
would John do?
We'll throw our own.
The only thing that Winner's Circle has is a history
Yes.
based on playing with young children that don't know how to read.
Wait, what?
See another episode for that one. Maybe we'll cover that when we do Winner's Circle.
Just saying, Winner's Circle.
I'm just saying, I
Okay.
would happily play Mississippi Queen instead of Winner's Circle.
Yeah, Winner's Circle.
I'd play this
is,
twice over
Winner's
Winner's
Circle
Circle.
is not a race game. If we want to get back to that, this is a legit race game. You're trying to cruise around the track and get to the finish line first.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Hey, everybody agreed they would play it again next May. So
I mean,
we'll see how you,
You
feel
know,
about
I
it
was
in May. Maybe
I
you'll
was
come
sick
around to it.
and
Yeah,
I was
dude.
drugged out of my mind. Nothing
even
I
play?
said could be.
Did you play?
I started to,
That's right, and then you left.
and then I had to leave. And
that what
I
made
was
you
still,
I got a phone call. It's time to go.
No,
Sorry,
it was-
guys.
it was-
Take my turn for me in Winner's
It was,
Circle.
oh my god, my allergies are killing me. I can't see.
So at this
I can't breathe.
at
So
this
I'm
point-
going to take some NyQuil and not play this game.
At
Oh
this point,
my.
I think we start referring to it as Losers Circle.
What did we say when I and my friends get together to play Winner's Circle? We're all losers.
No, that was what was that? Zolkin, the Mayan calendar.
Oh
No,
yeah.
so I think you make a good point, Sam. Is that from here on out, anytime anybody's reaching for Winner's Circle, we say, well, but we got Mississippi Queen right here. Why wouldn't we play that instead?
All right, we can do that instead, but we play with the Black Rose.
All
I'm fine with that.
Give us a number,
Okay.
Chris.
I'll give it a solid 7.
All right, Samuel.
All right. It's a fun game. You know, it's elegant. I really love the theme. It's a pleasure to play. Always nice to hang out with the queens. So it's a 7.
And he said that on tape too.
So for me, I always love Mississippi Queen because growing up in Mississippi, it's really cool to have like the one really cool thing about the state represented in a game.
Paddle boats.
Yes, paddle boats in the river.
Oh, right.
Because everything else in the state sucks. I kid. There's some nice things too. Anyway,
Like the public education.
this game I don't always win. In fact, this is the first time I've won in a very long time. Not considering how long it's been since we've played, but this isn't one that I typically win. But even with all of that, this game is just so much fun because not only is it a race, but as we've said before, it's also just It's a sumo fight in a closet.
It's mayhem. Yes,
yeah.
a sumo
Yeah.
fight in a closet.
I mean,
There you
I know
go.
knife fight in a closet's the actual phrase, but
No,
we decided
you
that
just-
we decided the boats were like sumo wrestlers.
Well, you're
so-
just pushing each other around. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like you can hurt you can like
pushing
hurt
and
somebody's
slapping.
position.
You can't hurt anyone,
But you're
You
not
can't
removing
damage
them,
them.
yeah.
You're just putting them in places that they don't want to be.
and
in.
frankly,
And frankly,
yeah, I said it.
3 times now.
If you're in a tight position, they're just going to push you back.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
They get to choose where they're pointing. They're at the same speed, so unless you're going really fast and now you're ahead of them, they're just going to push you back.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed or not, but when Stephen's boat rammed into all of us, it was playing loudly on the speakers, Another One Bites Dust. And then when you got to the winner circle, you were sitting there going, "We are the champions." It was kind of weird.
I was just like, where is everybody? What the?
No, you had your 2 queens with you. I'm sure you were fine.
Yeah. So anyway, I love this game. As mentioned, we don't play it enough, and we should definitely play this. Anytime somebody thinks about playing Winner Circle,
Loser circle.
Loser Circle thinking.
Snicker flits.
And for some reason, we own 2 copies of the original printing of this game, and that's just sort of
Mississippi
Well,
Queen
like a-
or Winner Circle?
We only own
Mississippi
one
Queen.
copy
Mississippi
of Winner's Circle.
I mean, it's one of those games where it's not bad to have 2 copies because you never know.
There was a time, John, when you didn't come every week.
Yeah, there's a.
And you brought
I
these
mean-
games, you teased us with them, and then you wouldn't be show up for another 4 weeks.
I
So-
remember
honestly-
that. John would always show up with the coolest games and then just not be there. And it's like, oh, man.
I mean, the
You-
only reason
you
we
were always
really
more than
have
welcome
2
to borrow
copies.
any of them.
The only reason we have 2 copies is because the auction we bid on just for Black Rose. We were gonna get Black Rose and just throw it in your box, but it came with
this
it came
copy
with
as
this
well.
copy. So that's why we have
neatly saran
to.
wrapped
We didn't
together.
do it because we wanted to replace your copy.
It's
But-
fine. It's just so. I mean, my question always is, especially until this was reprinted. If we have 2 or 3 copies of a game that people enjoy, I almost sort of feel like a dog. It's like, at this point, I should be trading this away to get somebody. It's give it a chance to have a life somewhere where somebody would enjoy it and maybe get something else instead
So
for
all
it.
that said, Mississippi Queen, as 7 as a 7 can be. This is a great game. Like I said, it's got 2 modes of play, so you can play it with younger family members and graduate them to the more advanced game. There's a lot of game here, and it's just everyone should get out and give it a shot because it's easy enough to find now. Give it a shot.
Yeah, and you can play with non-gamers very well too, and it kind of paints its own narrative. It's got its own story.
I'm just actually getting a lot of joy out of this box art.
Yeah, it's very evocative. Like, I've seen that boat before.
That's AI generated
You can tell. Look at the fingers.
back in 1997.
In 97.
Actually, look at like the crowd wraps around the corner of the box. You see that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty
It
cool.
is very cool.
All right, so that's Mississippi Queen. Anyone have any parting thoughts before
Yeah, let's play it again next week.
before we do the bonus episode of Mississippi Queen?
Bonus episode.
I'm good.
Stay tuned.